Dion says both fights and his fight with Evanezer, C grade. When you are as talented as he is, he should shine against those level of guys. And you were referring to Boots Ennis, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Can you expound on that so the audience can hear your take on it that
I
extends
this
from
is
the.
this is my thing when it comes to Boots. I mean, I think it's pretty evident that he's talented. And I think we have to look at it, especially if you're the kind of person who believes in excelling in life. When you're given a gift, you are expected to show up and show out, especially in his hometown. I mean, there's a reason why we were all sitting there like, ugh, for all three of those fights. It's not just a bad day at the office. And yeah, he won, but sometimes it's the fashion in which we win. For instance, Shakur Stevenson, he wins every single fight. But when it's been time for him to show up and shine, you look at the likes of young men like the young boy who just fought, Davis, not Tank, the other one from Norfolk,
Keyshawn, Keyshawn
Keyshawn
Davis.
Davis,
Yeah.
when he had the opportunity to shine against what should have been a difficult opponent for him, 11 fights in, this guy's 20 something in, he showed himself to be a star. I feel that Boots is definitely a talent. I mean, I've seen him do some Matrix type shit in the ring. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, like pull counter, like what did you just do?
Yeah.
Right? But it appears to me, in my opinion, when it's not easy for him, when it's not easy, he doesn't figure it out and make it look beautiful because he is beautiful. It's like this is a masterpiece. I want to see you pull off a masterpiece when you are creating your art against someone who's a little difficult. Yeah, this guy's difficult, but Karen is no like mega star. So what are you going to do against someone who is very difficult? Someone who matches you in IQ, someone who matches you in strength. How about someone who is stronger than you? Because you can still beat someone who is stronger. What are you going to pull out your bag to excel and show just how talented you are? It's not enough just to win. It's like going to work and you do just enough to get by. You did the work, you did the work, yeah, you did the work. You didn't get anything wrong, but did you do an excellent job? You know, we're looking for legendary performances. Legendary performances. We're not looking to say, okay, well, he beat him. He beat him every round. You know, he beat him most rounds. It was a little difficult for him. That's not enough. And you know what? When I looked at his body language throughout the fight, looked at his father's body language, post fight, you could see he's unhappy. So if he's unhappy with himself, then we all are disappointed. It is no hate on him, it's no knock. He is wonderful. He is wonderfully made and gifted by God. That is 100% sure. But we expect more from him,
I totally have
as
to
he
say.
should expect of himself. And I truly believe that he does expect more of himself. And the reality is that this is boxing, and we're all here to look and critique. And some people are over the top. You know, some people are just haters. So they're just going to hate just to hate. And that's just what it is. They can't wait for the opportunity to say, oh, he's bullshit.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you don't show up, you leave room for people to say, well, we thought this guy was the next coming. We thought
Hmm.
he was, we thought he was better than Crawford. We thought he was better than Crawford. Now you look, you're like, okay, all right, you know, and it may just be he needs to sharpen more, you know. Maybe there's some things he just has to work out internally. He's at a different level now, you
Yeah.
know. He's now a champion, so it may take some mental things for him to get over because I don't think it's really physical for him. He
Yeah.
has all the attributes, you know?
I
So
mean, you,
that's my take on him, you know.
yeah, I mean, you made some very, very interesting points, and I would have to say that I agree with most of them. But I know that you don't. You said it in the chat when we were live on Sunday that Karen is not as good as maybe I was. I'm saying he's good. Now I'm not saying he's. I'm not saying he's like Terrence Crawford good. You know, we know there's levels to this, Dion, right? But Karen wasn't no slouch either, though, Dion. You know what I mean? He was pretty good. He's a good. This guy has some
Okay, well,
skills.
just because he's good, I mean, he it's like he's not that good. You understand? He's not
Yes.
that good. Where if he was that good, it would have been more competitive. He's not that good. He's decent. He's good. He has some tricks. You know, he ran the first time. He knew little things to do. He was
Yeah.
definitely able to counter him more. He's not a bum.
Right.
No,
Right.
I wouldn't say that. But I don't think he's that great.
No, I agree with you. He's definitely not that great. I guess I was saying in the sense of the fact that people wasn't giving Karen a lot of credit for the skills that he displayed in the ring against Boots. Not saying that Boots didn't look bad, but Cameron kind of looked good too because he capitalized off of some of the things that Boots didn't do that he should have been doing. And I
As
was,
he should.
as he
So he
should have,
only did what he was supposed to do.
right. So I was giving credence to that point when we
Mm-hmm.
talk about Karen. Not saying that he's all is super great. You know what I mean? Hold on 1 second, Dion. 1 second.
Sure.
I'm sorry, Dion had to answer that. So
That's
basically,
okay.
so basically, you were saying he's obviously not that great. But to your point now, and I have to agree with you, and I want the audience to know that when we look at boxing, sometimes as fans, we don't look at it from a holistic standpoint, right? We just address what happened. I like to look at everything from like a big picture perspective. And the big picture is when we talk about Boots, and I think this is the point you're making, when you do get in there with someone that's good enough to be in there with you, not like a person who we know is completely overmatched, you got to perform under the lights when it counts,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Got to
Absolutely.
perform under the lights when it counts,
Absolutely.
especially when you're home, when you're in your backyard and
And
the
you're in
lights
your
are on
backyard.
you.
Your town came out to see you. They're paying their hard earned money. You're supposed to show out. Karen didn't scrap with him at a level where you're like, damn, that Karen put up a hell of a goddamn fight. They went toe to toe. They were in the phone booth. They were getting it in. It was crazy. And then Boots doesn't get him out of there. Then you're like, wow, that was crazy. He won, but that was a hell of a scrap. Do you think it was a hell of a scrap to that extent? No.
No, not to that extent. But I
No,
think it was no, I think it was
I
good
don't think he
enough.
ever hurt. I don't think he caught him so many times. He meaning Karen caught Boots so many times, and Boots wasn't hurt. He didn't get hurt by this man. He never appeared to be harmed in any way. There was no ever any danger. There was never any situation where I would say, "Wow, this guy was a complete threat." And at some point, we didn't know, no, this guy, he's okay. He's all right. I mean, he's
Yeah,
not complete bum
yeah, I agree
because he
with that.
could go toe to toe with someone at that level. I mean, he's fighting a champion. He's obviously, when you start getting those kind of fights, you're at the next tier
Yes,
of being a professional fighter.
yes.
But like for instance, another example of challenge, and this is a rookie, and I know that there's no comparison because he's so young, but I'm talking about the kind of grit and also the fact that this young man had the challenge but he went in there and figured this shit out on the fly. And that would be Abdullah Mason, his last fight.
Yeah, he came off
And
the canvas.
there's different levels, of course. He's very young in his career. But the challenge was presented. He was put on his behind
Yeah, yeah,
twice.
yes, he was.
He went right back to it, which I thought was like a little scary. Like, oh my God, maybe you should slow it down a bit.
Yeah.
Slow it down, take it easy. You can get him, but
Yeah.
he didn't care. He went in and he got the job done. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that he did not want to disappoint. And that's what I'm speaking to.
Yeah.
He refused to disappoint. He did not let the adversity set him back to where you walked away and said, oh, Abdullah Mason is not who he says he is or who we thought he is. He went right in. And that's what I want to see from Boots. We all get challenges. All of us, you get challenged every day.
Yeah.
We all have, as they say in boxing, a bad day at the office. We all face those moments. But when back to back, you're coming up with the same level of performance, that causes us to raise a brow. Like,
So let me ask you this, Dion. With that being said, is your expectation level for Boots reduced, or is it the same? Or what do you think about him now that you talked about the back-to-back performances? Where's your expectation level now, like as a fan, of Boots?
you know what? For instance, I thought he was a major threat to Crawford. And I believe Crawford thought he was a threat to him. Out of his own mouth, he said he is high risk, low reward.
He did.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are like, I believe he's talented. I don't believe that he's a wash, but I do think there's something that needs to be addressed in his camp, and maybe something internally with him. Maybe the expectations and the accolades we gave him is too much pressure. Maybe we put too much on him too soon. And I think the other thing, he has a lot of fights under his belt, right? He's been fighting, but he's just getting to this point at 30 something fights.
Yes.
So now the dynamics have changed so much for him. I think we have a lot to do with some of that pressure he's feeling.
Yeah.
And the sad thing, I think that if he doesn't get that internal part and mental part of it together, he may end up becoming a flop, because sometimes even the greatest performers can just kind of fizz out. They just fizzle out. I don't want that for him. I believe he's everything that we thought he is, but I do believe that something needs to be corrected for him. Something. I don't know what it is, I don't know.